Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. Fans, you know why we do this on a Friday night, because Friday night is horror night. For my guest from the far side of the Atlantic Ocean, um, Friday night was a night when free-to-air TV used to show us classic horror movies at 10 o'clock. It used to only happen on a Friday, where you got to see all the classics as a kid. It was wonderful. Good
Nice.
times, good times. But tonight, the lads are working, unfortunately again, but sure, such is life. But tonight we're joined by an up and coming superstar in the game. We're joined here by an actor from Zombie Games, Trust, Terror Tunes 4, Appetite for Sin, and what is making huge headlines across the indie horror world in The Barn 2. Welcome, Mr. LOVARI. How are you, sir?
Thank you so much. I'm so honored and grateful to be on this podcast, man. Thank you so much from across the pond there.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on um, and have a chat with us. Obviously, we love having guests on because it brings a different view to the show. So, how are you?
Pretty good. Keeping busy, but good. I appreciate you asking.
I mean, the titles there are running off. Obviously, the big one being the Barn 2, but we can get into
Yes.
that in a few minutes. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm originally from New York, and I got my starts when I moved out at 21 years old. I grew up in a suburb of Queens, New York, and I moved into New York City, Manhattan, at the age of 21, and I started, working on my demo there and, struggling, the whole deal. And then finally, I got a record deal in 2009. I went independent in 2012. I had my first Billboard charting single in 2019. And 2019 is also the year that I got my very first horror film supporting role. I had done small roles prior to that, but my goal was always to be in horror films because that's my absolute number one genre. And, just obsessed like you guys over there. You guys had the Friday night. We had a lot of Friday night frights on our stations, here in the USA. So it was my dream to be in horror movies. So finally in 2019 is when I had my first supporting role in a horror film, and I've been lucky that it's been continued to roll from there.
Awesome. Like that takes the next question out was horror where you wanted to go, but obviously a huge
Yeah.
fan. And it's something we've brought up on the show a couple of times. Horror fans seem to be the closest group of fans that you can find. There's so much love for all types of it inside horror. They're
Not
probably the most respectful fans.
mhm. Not only that, but even within the horror film community and filmmakers and actors in the community itself, especially indie horror, it's a really really small circle of people. I've worked with so many of the same people consistently. One being Linnea Quigley. Linnea Quigley was slash is one of my favorite actresses of all time and is my
Night,
number
Night,
one.
Night of the Demons.
Return of the Living Dead, Night of the Demons, Vice Academy, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, and The Barn Part 1, Creepazoid, Sorority Babes. Yeah, so,
The list
we've worked
goes
on,
on.
absolutely, we worked on 4 projects already. Then Ari Lehman, who played Jason Voorhees in Friday the 13th Part 1, same with Ari and I, we worked on 2 or 3 projects together. And Mike Ferguson, who's also an upcoming star, him and I worked on, I also think about 3 projects. So it's a very close knit community for sure.
I,
It's like a little neighborhood, so to speak.
I've definitely noticed that I've done a show with quite a few indie horror stars around the place, and it seems to be the same group of people that are connecting on different movies. And you see this person's cast, and then you're like, oh, well, let's see how many now go from there around. So it's great to see, and especially with the resurgence of indie horror.
Yeah.
Obviously, last year we had the likes of Smile, which was an independent horror that went major. But the big one last year was obviously Terrifier 2.
Terrifier 2, and
My
there's
God.
I can't say anything right now, but just when you think about the Barn 2, try to keep Terrifier 2 in the back of your minds. And hopefully in the near future, you guys will see why. That's all I can say without getting in any sort of trouble.
Unless it's got Terrifier 2 in it, I can't imagine where you're going with that. But we won't
No.
say anything just in case it gets you in trouble.
And we love Art the Clown and Terrified. We love those movies. Oh my god, I
uh,
love them.
we actually made a point on our show about when we done the Halloween Ends review. Terrifier had dropped just with it, but we
Right?
said like we've obviously lost Michael Myers now for another while till there's another reboot, but we got the new reborn Art the Clown, so you lose one legend to what's quickly becoming another legend.
Oh yes, oh yes, and the term in regard to the Halloween reboots. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. That's all
I
I'm gonna
liked
say.
them. I
If
wasn't.
I have nothing nice to say, I won't say anything at all.
Like for me, I didn't really like the franchise in general. Um, I only ever liked the first one and the third one, but
Oh, you know
these
what's
new
crazy? You know what's crazy? My top three, my personal ranking top three is 1978 Halloween,
that's just a
Season of the
given.
Witch at number two, and number three, The Curse of Michael Myers. Those are my
What's that?
top three.
That's five, isn't it?
No, six.
Six. Yeah.
With
No.
the thorn explanation, all that, both versions, the producer's cut and the theatrical cut.
For me, I love the first one and I love the third one. I didn't really like any of the rest of them. And then
Got
the
you.
new three, I didn't see 18 until 20, just before
Okay.
before Kills came out. And I
Got you.
loved that. And then I went through it. I loved it. I thought they were
I,
great.
I love the Rob Zombie reboot of it.
Eek. Yeah, I don't think
See,
that
that
man.
okay?
I don't think
Listen,
that
the fact that
man.
we have all these like chronologies of the Halloweens that we could choose to like or dislike. That's what's up. That's dope.
Do you know what? I think Halloween 1 wasn't good from him. Halloween 2 was good and
You know
gets
what's
a.
funny? I actually rank Halloween Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 above Rob Zombie's Halloween 1.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't be mine. I don't think he should be let near a remake. He was better when he was doing his own original stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously he had House of a Thousand Corpses,
Right.
Devil's
That one.
Rejects and stuff.
That was
Brilliant.
Rejects. Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah.
I had the disfortunate pleasure of watching the Monsters earlier on in the year, or then back in the last year.
Didn't watch it. Didn't do it. Didn't do it.
Uh,
I gotta tell you what. You know why? I just never got into the monsters as a kid because it was more comedic and I was more about like dark horror, like splatter. So I never even got into the original Monsters TV show.
Yeah, it was a bit before my time. Now I'd seen a lot of the episodes, just from being on, but like it was nothing special. But I said I'd give it a chance. Oh, 20 minutes in, I hated it. I hated it. They have
I heard that
Count.
was the general consensus.
They have Count Orlok in it after about 20 minutes on a date with Sherry Moon, and I'm sitting there going, my God! And they have him doing disco dancing and stuff. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Oh, I didn't even know. See, I didn't. I didn't.
I was
I
like,
didn't know.
I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm over. It's over. No, I did finish it, but it didn't get any better. But
Wow.
as it says, the resurgence of indie horror at the minute is great to see, and the fact that it's getting so well reviewed around the world now as well. Obviously, as it says earlier, The Barn 2 is getting some rave reviews around the
Oh
film
yeah.
circuit, and it's great to see. And I think it was yourself that actually sent me the article about it in Fangoria.
Yes, man. That was wow.
Like you're talking about, Fangoria have had some of the biggest horror films around coming
Not
through
only
it.
that, when I was a teenager, man, I was going to the Fangoria Weekend of Horrors convention all the time. You know what I mean? And
Nice.
I would physically buy the Fangoria magazines, especially I don't know if you remember they used to have the poster issues.
No,
The
so we
pull-out
didn't get
poster
them over
issues
here
too.
really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just say this: what did I do? My bad. My 13-year-old self, when I saw that, I was fangirling out when I saw that we were in a Fangoria magazine, man. For real. That was amazing. That was so dope.
It's amazing, and they do pick up some really big. Sorry, not some really big. They pick up some really good independent ones
Absolutely,
that go
yes.
on to be huge. And obviously, one of the biggest ones now for me with the date that it is, obviously, was 21 years ago. They picked up a small movie called Dog Soldiers,
Oh, I love Dog Soldiers.
and they ran
Love
the
it.
article on it. But it's now 21 years later, and what a lot of people consider the best werewolf movie ever.
Absolutely. I remember actually when that came out, and I would tell people, yo, have you seen Dog Soldiers? It's a great werewolf movie. And at the time, like a lot of people didn't even know what I was talking about.
It didn't break well in the States,
Right.
on original release, I don't think. But a couple of weeks ago now, I actually got to sit down with Neil Marshall and have a conversation with him.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
That's really
uh,
dope.
I got to sit there and I was nearly fanboy. And I was like, well, but I'll leave that to a question that we ask guests later on. So tell me, how did you get cast in the Barn 2?
So here's the deal. So I wanna say this. I'll try to make it as quick as possible, but I want to speak about how things can go full circle. So speaking about Fangoria, when I used to go, there was a thing called Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors, which is basically a horror convention. You know, they have a bunch of horror conventions all the time, but Fangoria magazine specifically would do this horror convention. So I was 13 years old and I was obsessed with Linnea Quigley, right? So my dad,
As you do,
sorry,
as you would be. Yeah, I
as
understand
I
that.
would be, as I would be, but not just for her looks, actually for her, for her acting in movies too. You know what I'm saying? So,
She had a lot of skill. She has skills.
absolutely. So, I specifically asked my dad to take me to Fangoria Weekend of Horrors for Linnea Quigley. And then we got there, and there was also Gunnar Hansen, Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw. So
Yes,
I got his autograph on VHS. I had Texas Chainsaw on
nice.
VHS, so I got his autograph, but I was there for Linnea. So Linnea autographed my poster. She put, "You're hot, love Linnea." And at the time, I was a 13-year-old kid that was probably, I was very overweight. It wouldn't be the definition of hot back then. And I got picked on in school. But so I went to school and I bought that poster to school. And I was like, oh, wow, dude. So then I kind of became cool. You know what I mean? Because here I have Linnea Quigley writing on my poster, "You're hot." You know
My
what I'm
man.
saying? Right. So she helped me from getting less picked on, definitely with that. So fast forward about 20 years later, and like I said, I have my music career as well. And some way, somehow, similar fans of my music are fans of her and other people that I ended up working with. So there was a friend of mine who started off as a fan, but then we became friends, named David Devendra, and I was on his page and I had seen Linnea, like he was part of a Linnea fan club, and I was like, oh wow, I was like, that's somebody I always would love to work with. And I told him the story about when I was a kid, doing the Fangoria thing. And he was like, oh, I'm in contact with her. And I was like, what? So he put me in contact with her. And at the time I was making a small, short, independent short film about sharks. And we had been, I got to speak with her and I told her about what, when I was 13, yada, 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 which I'm sure she's heard from millions of people, but she still listened. And I sent her the script. She was interested, but financially, it was basically like a college script. So financially, I wasn't able to bring her in. But we had kept in contact. We had kept in contact after that, because she also was in a rock band, and then she started liking my posts about my albums, etc. So okay, so we kept in contact, and then one day I was visiting my mom in Queens, and my mom loves 80s horror films or just splatter films just as much as
Nice.
me. And that's where I actually got it from, because I was a little kid and I'd hear all these horror movies playing in the next room while I was trying to go to bed. So I know where I got that obsession from. You know what I'm saying? So basically I went over to my mom's in Queens visiting her, and well, I'm like, oh, what are hanging out, whatever. And I was like, oh, you feel like watching a movie? Let's watch a horror movie. So we were going through the Fire Stick, and the Barn came up, and I read the description. It said 80s inspired. We're like 80s inspired. Cool. We're watching it. Right.
We're in.
So right, we're in. That's it. All I saw was it said 80s. That's it. That we're like, yeah, that's it. We watching it. So we put it on and the credits start rolling and it said Linnea Quigley. And I was like, oh snap. So I texted Linnea. I texted her. And I was like, yo, my mom and I are about to watch The Barn 2. I didn't know you were in. I'm sorry, The Barn 1. My mom and I are about to watch this movie called The Barn, and you're like the top, the top star. So she texts me back. She goes, "Cool. Let me know what you think." So watched it, loved it, absolutely
Can't
loved it.
not
And
love
my
it.
mom and I both said, "Now this might sound like bullshit now because I'm in The Barn too, but I promise you, like, well, people that know me know I keep it real. You feel me? So I promise you that after we watched it, my mom and I were like, yo, that was probably like one of the best modern horror movies because we love 80s. Like my mom and I both said it. So I texted her and I was like, no lie, definitely one of the best new horror films. It's definitely on my top 5 new horror movies. Now, mind you, when I say new horror movies, my definition of new is like 2000 on. So
I mean, I feel that. I get behind that.
it's not like 2015 to no, it's 2000 on is my definition of new horror movies. So you got me saying that it's in my top 5 of movies horror movies since 2000. Okay, so
I
then
mean,
she
there's been
writes,
a good few there.
yeah, right. So then she texts me back and she says, oh, glad you liked it, we're actually about to film a part 2. She said that, and I did something that I usually never ever do
Get
to my
me in.
fellow peers. You got it. I said, I said, please, 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 if you can get me to submit for an audition, I'd be so grateful. I hate to ask, but I loved it so much. So she was kind enough to put me in contact with the director. Now, mind you, she'd seen my work, some of my work before. You know what I mean? So I wasn't just coming to her. You feel me?
I mean,
She
I mean, you've got to you got to use like not use people when you know them, but it's that business seems to be who you know will help.
right. But what I'm saying is, she had seen my work before from us being friends and us being on each other's social media pages. So it wasn't like I was coming out of the woodwork asking her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like she knew what I did already. She commented on some of my work, so it wasn't like I was like, "Oh, by the way, I act." You feel me? So, but I still was like, I still don't like to. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, but this time I was like, no, I need to ask. So and like I said, she was kind enough to put me in contact with the director, Justin Seaman, and Justin wrote back to me and he was like, do you have a reel? Yeah, I said absolutely. So I sent him, my reel, my actor's reel of work that I had, and I also sent him my your standard actor's resume, etc. So he came back and he was like, yeah, I could put you in a scene where you could be a zombie and Linnea kills you. So it sounded like an extra role, and I haven't done extra work in a long time. And there's nothing wrong with the extra work. It's just I hadn't done it in a long time. You know what I mean? Because I wanted to, work on getting supporting roles or five, under fives or whatever. But this time around, I love the Barn one so much, and I would love the opportunity to work with Linnea. So I was like, I'm doing it. Yep, sign me up. You know what I mean? So he was like, okay, cool. He was like, it's just gonna be a basic scene script. I'll send it to you. So Linnea, I messaged Linnea and I said, guess what? I'm gonna be in a scene, a zombie with you, zombie scene. I'm so excited. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And then she said, no, let me talk to him. And I said, talk to him about what? And she was like, did you send him your reel? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, did he look at it? I said, I don't know if he looked at it because I'd sent it to him and he was still talking to me about the zombie scene. And she was like, let me talk to him because there may be something, bigger. And I wrote back, no, because I don't want him to get mad. I don't want him to be like, what?
you're out.
Screw this kid. Who the fuck? I don't even know this kid. You know what I'm saying? I was like, please. I was like, I'm fine. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. And she was like, I'm just gonna ask. I said, okay, but can you please let him know that I'm not the one asking and tell him I'm perfectly happy? And she was like, yeah. So anyway, 2 days passed, and I'm like, ah, fuck. I was like, ah, fuck. It's like,
Fuck it.
in one way, I'm honored that one of my idols is advocating for me. You know what I'm saying? So in one aspect, I was really honored about that, but in another one, I was like, oh damn, this dude must be like, fuck this dude. You know what I'm saying? So 2 days passed, and he hit me up. He emailed me, and he was like, hey, it's Justin. And he was like, so listen, he was like, I looked at your reel and I spoke with Linnea, and I'm gonna offer you a supporting role, but I have to write the role. I had to create it, and I was like, uh, uh, oh, okay, you know.
Just
And
a
there were things, I don't want to get into the business side of it, but there were sacrifices that I made that are worth it, money wise. You know what I mean? Um, as far as I might not have gotten paid as much as, but remember, I'm coming in. He already had a script. Somebody's saying this person. You know what I mean? He's fleshing out a brand new character. So like, so when I say sacrifice, I mean like I may not have gotten paid as much, or as what other of that supporting or lead actors got paid, and I don't care. You know what I mean? Because it was the
once
last
you're
minute
in, you're
thing.
in.
Right, right, right. And so he created this whole new character named Tony. Not far, apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Tony, my first name is Anthony. And but the character was Dr. Rock, who was in part one, who was played by Ari Lehman, Jason from Friday the 13th, part one. I would be Dr. Rock's sidekick in the movie. And
Nice.
then I was like, uh, so I'm gonna be in scenes with Ari Lehman, and he was like, "Yeah, no, don't worry, you'll be in scenes with Linnea too." I was like, "No, I know, but you're saying I'm also gonna be in scenes with Ari Lehman, Jason from Friday the 13th." Yeah, I was like, great." So
I'll
now
do it
here
for
I am.
free.
Not only I gotta tell you, I would have. Not only am I in with Linnea Quigley, one of my idols, and still one of my idols. But now I'm doing scenes with her and Jason from Friday the 13th. And Friday the 13th, out of Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th has always been my favorite franchise
Oh,
those four.
you're one of them guys.
Yes, I am. So
You might
part three
like
is
this
my
then.
favorite. Part three is my favorite. Part one is my second favorite. Part six is my third favorite. We act like Jason Takes Manhattan didn't happen and Jason X didn't happen. But anyway, so
You
so
like this then.
say it again.
I said you like this one.
Wait, let me make my screen bigger. I'm sorry. Oh yes, that is
Yeah,
dope.
and you've got Freddy as well.
That is dope, bro. You gotta show that to. Have you interviewed Ari?
No,
I have to show that to Ari. Can you screenshot that to me later?
I'll send it to you. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Those are dope,
Um,
bro. Those are dope.
but
So,
that's you've got yourself into what's quickly becoming a very popular series.
yes,
Not a
yes.
series, very popular
Popular things. So, to wrap
thing
it,
in movies. Yeah.
right. So to wrap it up, I'm sorry. I know I went on a tangent here. To wrap it up, my first day on set, I was just like, holy shit! Like I was very professional, of course, but the you know the waiting the holding area. So our holding area, like just to see my name, it's like holding area, Linnea Quigley, Ari Lehman, Doug Bradley, Pinhead from Hellraiser, LOVARI,
Absolutely.
LOVARI. I'm like, that to me was like as equally exciting as filming itself. Just to see my name on the whole, you know what I'm saying? On the sheet with these horror legends, I was like, wow.
I mean,
Just
like
wow.
they're three big names.
Oh my god. And that's just the half. There's so many other cameos in it. There's Bob Briggs and Diana Prince from The Last Drive-In. I don't know if you guys have that over there in Ireland, but
I've
that's
seen it. Yeah, we've had to
yeah.
watch it online, but it's I enjoy it.
Yeah, so they're in
Um,
it. You
your
got Drew
video has
Matthews.
frozen, but we can still hear you. Oh wait, there you are.
Oh, am I
You're back.
still frozen?
No, you're back now.
All right, cool. So
Um,
yeah, man, and just the experience was great. I have nothing. Listen, it's whatever I do, I'm always the Barnes who's always gonna hold a special place in my heart. Yeah, so
Sorry, but
just the pinnacle of that.
oh, like that's they're three legends in the game. Let alone what cameos come in.
Amazing. It's just amazing. It's always going to hold a special place in my heart. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I've
That
spoke
he's
to a
done
few
that for me.
people. I've spoke to a few people as of late, and the fans will have seen it, or you might have seen it on the back catalogue from the Mutilator 2, and
Hmm.
um, like some of them have said it. Like if they never do another movie, they're still associated with what was an '80s iconic movie, and they're going to be part of the second
Yeah,
one.
for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely. The feeling
and
is
like
the feeling is mutual for the barn too.
yeah, and I'm looking forward to I haven't had a chance to see it because it's not out over here yet. Um, but as I said to you off screen, I loved the first one. Um,
Absolutely.
and how could anyone not like the first one? It was just such a like you'd say some people would say it's not a feel good movie, but I really enjoyed it. Like really enjoyed it.
What I love about the Barn 1 and the Barn 2 is, to me, they both have a sense of innocence about them. You know, if you notice, well, you didn't see Part 2 yet, but if you notice in the Barn 1, there wasn't a lot of TNA,
There wasn't a lot of what?
tits and ass,
Oh no, sorry, you broke up there. I didn't hear what you
like
said.
nudity.
Oh right, yeah.
There
Yeah,
was
no,
there
see,
was there wasn't a lot of nudity. There
yeah,
wasn't a lot of
that's
nudity. So like
that's
there was a
that's a
sense
good,
of
a good.
innocence, if that makes sense.
Like for me, one of my favorite horror movies is Wrong Turn 1, and there's little to no nudity in that. There doesn't have to be nudity in it. Some people just put it in for the sake of it being in,
Right.
and it's not
Absolutely.
needed. Do you know that kind of way?
Right.
But sure, like I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not going to tell them how to do their job. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If
Mm-hmm.
if they want to put it in and have someone do that, that's fine. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say no to watching it.
I mean,
But
in the barn too, there is one scene that shows breasts, but it's kind of necessary for. I can't give anything away, but you know what I mean.
yeah.
But
Like
that's pretty much it.
sometimes it is necessary in films. Like let's be fair.
Right.
Um, but like sometimes it's just put in for the sake of being put in.
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. But sure. So as I said, we have a few other movies there as supporting actors. Are all them kind of the same run of the mill because of you went in acting wise to get in as a stepping stone to something bigger, or were they people that you knew, or
Mm-hmm. So the horror film community, as we discussed earlier, the indie horror film community in the United States, to me, seems to be a small circle of very, very supportive actors. I want to make sure that people know that because the music industry is freaking cutthroat, bro. Like, remember, I'm originally from the music realm, right?
yeah,
So it's cutthroat. Like the music industry is so cutthroat. I know this is a horror podcast, but there were so many betrayals that I've had in the past in the music industry, yada yada yada. The horror film community is very embracing and supportive of their fellow actors and directors. So a lot of the films that I got after The Barn Part Two were from meeting people on the set of The Barn Part Two. So they were personal stepping stones. Listen, man, I have no desire, nor do I have the six pack to be like a Brad Pitt or anybody. I've always wanted to be an established horror film actor. You know what I mean? So that's it. I'm so happy to be in these roles of these films, and some of them, like what you said, already have names or cult following. Terror Tunes 4, as an example. You know that is a horror series. You know,
you know,
grounds to
into a
number 4.
franchise with that.
Franchise. Correct. Thank you. I was like searching for the word franchise. So
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So to be part of a franchise, even the Barn 2 now, that's a franchise. I can't say if there's gonna be a 3. But
Wink, wink,
sorry,
nudge,
there's
nudge.
something in my eye. But Justin's gonna friggin' kill me. He'll be like, well, there was gonna be a 3 and you were gonna be in it. No, just kidding.
What
But
happened? You're cut.
no, listen, man. I just want to give Justin Steeman though seriously a huge shout out, the director of the Bar 2. Just everybody involved was amazing. But moving on to Terror Tunes 4, Joe Castro, Steven Escobar. this series, man. Are you familiar with the Terratoon series?
No, I haven't even. I'd never heard them up until you sent it to me.
That's fine.
Um,
That's fine. But the Terratoon series, it started out ultra low budget. Like Terratoons one was ultra low budget, and then like it got this cult following, yada yada yada, and now Terratoons 4 is on a much more moderate budget. You know, you compare 1 to 4, and it's like wow. But again, directed by Joe Castro, who is makeup extraordinaire. He's done so many special effects for so many major and indie horror films. Joe Castro. But he also directed the Terratoons franchise series along with Steven Escobar, who is an Emmy winner for his production on The Amazing Race here in the United States. So with these two
impressive.
gentlemen, yeah, with these two gentlemen helming these series is amazing. And again, Linnea Quigley is in Terratoons 4. Brink Stevens is in it from Slumber Party Massacre. So my scenes
What a
are with
movie!
Brink Stevens. Yeah. So she actually directed the segment that I'm in for Terratoons 4. It's separated into like 3 segments. So that was an amazing thing to be part of that ensemble. And then Appetite for Sin, what features Joe Castro. He didn't direct it, but Joe Castro is one of the leads in that, and it's directed by Matthew Vanaha, an up-and-coming director. And that's a female vampire movie, which also stars Brink Stevens. So that's cool. My part is really small in that one, but they gave me one of the top credits when when the film starts. It has my name right there in the supporting cast. I'm not in it a lot, but I was like, that's cool. I was like, maybe that's a testament to me building, and you know what I mean?
You got to build your
Um,
name somewhere.
right. But I'm saying I feel like maybe that's a testament there where they're like, okay, he's even though he's in it for a short period of time, I have a character name and everything. But you know, even if it's essentially a cameo in it, they think that I'm credible enough to have me in the front credits, you know, in the supporting credits. So I was really surprised to see my name in the supporting credits. Then I'm like, I'm only in it for like I think less than 5 minutes, but I was like, that's dope. It's a really great female vampire movie. And then Thrust is insane. Thrust is crazy. Thrust is not even. I can't even say that Thrust is like a horror movie. Thrust is everything. It's dystopian, apocalyptic, action horror. It's insane, and it's also been winning a lot of awards on the circuit. It's directed by Victor Bonacore, and has a lot of people like in the New York punk scene, and a lot of people in the punk scene, and some wrestlers in it too. I don't follow wrestling, so I'm not even gonna try to act like start saying names and things like that. But I do know that it has a lot of people from like MMA, some people from WWE, because when we had the New York City premiere, people like, oh, that's so and so. Oh, you know what I'm saying? So
I
that yeah,
mean,
that's a
I'd
crazy.
I'd be a partial wrestling fan. The two lads that do it with me, Ian and Carl, and Ted as well, they'd be big wrestling fans. Um,
So they would definitely recognize some people in Thrust.
yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy movie. That just came out. That literally no, it didn't come. So it's you know it's in festivals and it won a few It won Nightmares Film Festival. The Barn 2 also won in Nightmares Film Festival, but it's gonna be on DVD DVD Blu-ray next week. It gets released on DVD Blu-ray. Rust.
Nice.
And the Barn Part 2 is on Blu-ray DVD, but it's still making the rounds of the of the film festivals as well. So yeah, and then there's Zombie Games, which was it's not it's so Zombie Games was going to be a YouTube series, and then they decided to just make it a feature. So it's about like 87 minutes, but it's Linnea Quigley's first directorial project. So Linnea
Says
Quigley
you're really
directed
hooking up here, aren't you?
it. So Linnea, I gotta tell you, so it's Linnea's first directing project, and yet she handpicked who she wanted in it. So the fact that she handpicked me as one of the people she wanted, it amazing. Again, you gotta understand, my 13-year-old self, my 12-year-old self is screaming, fangirling out now that I'm older, you know what I mean, and working with her like this. You understand? So it's not, but it's not the best. It's meant to be. She was experimenting. You understand? So it's not anything to be taken seriously. The film, and it's meant to be low budget. It's meant to be B movie-ish. It's meant to be amateur. It's it has like a lot of graphics in it mixed in with real footage. But again, it's meant to be like that. Because it's on Maha Films. That's the distributor, and then it's on YouTube through Maha Films. But there's a lot of people in the comments that are like, "Oh my god, this is so dumb," or "This is so stupid," and look how they do the graphics. And I don't think they understand it's meant to be stupid. It's like almost like remember like Ed Wood, those type of movies.
Yep. Like
It,
I
it's
I
purposely
get
meant to be like that, but people are thinking that it was meant to be serious and it's not. But anyway, regardless of that, it's
fuck those
cute, it's
guys.
fun, it's bloody and fun, and it's something to just chill out and laugh at because it's purposely meant to look like a B schlocky movie. You know what I'm saying? So again, I was honored to yet again work with Linnea. And Mike Ferguson, who's the star of Amityville Rising, him and I worked on several of these projects together as well. So I'm just really cool. And then Compatible is another one that's coming out, which is directed by Joseph Kelly, who directed Clown Motel.
That was deadly.
Yep. So Clown Motel and Clown Motel 2.
I didn't
So
know there
Joe
was a
Kelly.
second one.
Say it again.
I didn't know there was a second one.
Yes, that just came out recently. And Joe,
Oh,
don't kill me. I haven't watched it yet, Joe. My bad. But
sorry,
but
Joe.
I love part one. I love part one. So yeah, so that's called Compatible. So that'll be out soon, directed by Joe Kelly. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about them all, man.
You're getting the name out there. You're getting the movies. It's only gonna take one to really break major.
The Bar 2, man. I think I gotta say
That's the one.
The Bar 2. The Bar 2. We're getting a lot of great. There's even on YouTube. There's like 7 different. Yeah, at least 7. On YouTube, there's at least 7 different reviews from YouTubers about the Bar 2. So you know when people start doing that, you know that it's out there. You feel me? Because we got 7 different YouTube reviews on there, reaction reviews, and then there's even one unboxing of the Blu-ray.
You're kind of breaking up
There's even
there.
a YouTuber that did an unboxing
Of the Blu-ray.
of
I don't know, folks.
because that's what Born 2 is reminding me of.
Nice. So what we'll do is we'll finish it up here then for the minute, but I'll gladly have you back on absolutely anytime you want to come on and just chat horror.
I
Normally
appreciate
with
having me on, man. Thank you.
Normally with guests, it's always about them the first time, and then if they want to come back, then it's just kind of a free for all because obviously you got to mention everything you're in and what you've done. Next time is kind of a bit freer for you. It's just like, yeah, fuck this film or fuck that film, you know, that kind of way. Probably shouldn't say that if you're an actor though.
We kind of
because,
did that. We kind of did that when you're talking about the Halloween franchises.
I mean, now what if David Gordon Green wanted to cast you and he sees this podcast?
Well, you know what? Like I said, I always keep things real, man. I'm just like that. Like I had a music. Listen, I had a music video called "Keep It Moving," and it offended a lot of people. "Keep It Moving, cancel culture" is the full title.
I hate cancel culture. I hate it.
Then you would like my song because my song is "Keep It Moving, cancel culture." And so a lot of people got offended, and they were saying, "Oh, he's." Yeah, we're not even going to get into it because that's music related, but let's just say I ended up losing fans because they thought I was being anti-whatever, and they wanted me to apologize. And I'm not apologizing for presenting the opposing viewpoints. That's why the song is called Cancel Culture. I'm not going to say I'm sorry. You want to cancel me? Go ahead, fucking cancel me, bro. I'm not,
sure.
We're living in McCarthyism. Y'all need to be careful. We want to talk about being woke. No. Again, that's a whole other thing. But so if Gordon Green said it, I'm sorry, my bad. I would be honored to be cast in one of your films, but I said what I said, bro. I'm not gonna backpedal.
I mean, that's the best thing about movies. Everyone has an opinion. I liked them, you didn't. Do you know what I mean?
Right. And I didn't say it was a bad movie. I just didn't like the premise of it.
Right. Before I finish up, I've got the question that we kind of touched on earlier, right?
Okay.
You've seen Dog Soldiers.
Yes, I have. Look, this is not on purpose. I didn't know we were going to talk about soldiers, but look, I even have a dog. Look at that.
Nice. You've seen American Werewolf in London. Yeah.
Say it one more time.
You've seen American Werewolf in London,
Yes, I have, of course, absolutely,
which
and in Paris.
we don't talk about that one.
I
um,
liked it.
I didn't. I thought it was terrible. I watched it. I watched it once, and I'll never watch it again. Um, which one's better?
Wait, Dog Soldiers, American Werewolf in London. Which one's better?
Yeah,
Is that what you're asking me?
yeah.
I still like American Werewolf in London. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love Dog Soldiers, but American Werewolf in London.
All right. It says there's no
He's
wrong
like,
answer.
sorry, I lost the interview. Sorry, bro. Something
Uh,
happened with the interview.
this is a
But I
long-standing
like
debate.
Dog Soldiers very much.
It's a long-standing debate we have between myself and Carl and a couple of the others as to which one's better. So we just started asking guests to see what they went with.
But obviously, Dog Soldiers had much more action.
Yeah,
Obviously. But overall, American Werewolf in London for me.
that's all right. Like, there's no wrong answer. American
But
Werewolf
I
is
love
second for
Dog
me.
Soldiers as well. I love Dog Soldiers as well. But if I had to choose, it'd be American Werewolf in London. But I also like The Howling a lot too, especially the beginning, when they're in the porno video store.
That's
No, but
mad,
that
isn't
shit
it?
is scary because how close they are to each other. Like how close. That shit was scary.
But for tonight, now I'm gonna wind this down. LOVARI, hell of an episode. I
Thank you.
appreciate you reaching out and appreciate you taking the time to come on.
I appreciate you, man, having me. Thank you so much. It's an
And
honor, bro. Thank you.
as I says, you're more than welcome back absolutely anytime.
Thank you so much. I
Uh,
appreciate you. Thank you.
um, and ladies and gentlemen, this has been your Friday night for the On the Slab. I will finish this the way I finish absolutely every Friday night. In the words of the great George A. Romero, ladies and gentlemen, stay scared.